Is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of thoughts.
18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Road management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on Sports.
Welcome in. It is Game Time Decisions live on SportsGrid on this Tuesday night. Kevin Walsh with you for the next 2 hours, which will see the beginning of the NCAA tournament. March Madness will be in, well, not full effect, right? I don't want to lie to the people, but we have St. Francis of PA out of the Northeast Conference going up against Alabama State in the SWAC, the 16 matchup. The winner will be given the opportunity to lose to Auburn in the 1 versus 16. I don't think that's disrespectful. Does anybody feel like that's disrespectful? It doesn't feel disrespectful. Feels true. It feels true. It is how we begin the play-in round, always with a little 16-16 battle. The SWAC's Alabama State, a 3.5-point favorite, up to 4 in some spots. We are seeing a total check-in now at 136.5. 137.5 still appears to be out there, but under money has continuously pushed this total down, which will begin tonight's tournament. That game, for me, it will be a player prop. On the St. Francis of PA side, give me Damari Kelly for 11-plus points. That's minus 115 on DraftKings. Kelly had hit this in 9 consecutive and 10 of 11 before missing in 2 straight, including an awful shooting performance against Central Connecticut in the NEC Championship game. Big-time bounce-back spot here on the biggest stage. Give me the 11-plus points at minus 115. I know some of you are saying, whoa, can't get involved with the props. Well, listen, let's take a deep breath. Maybe we'll find some juice live. We will be on air for a lot of that basketball game, but we'll get you the side for the big one tonight, which is North Carolina and San Diego State. Of course, this game is going to, for a lot of people, if it goes San Diego State's direction, prove that in no way, in no world, did North Carolina belong in the bracket. Fighting for the little guy is what we're seeing for a lot of people. Those same people said do not use the SMU performance against Penn State or the Indiana performance against Notre Dame in the college football playoff to suggest Alabama belonged in that field of 12. So which is it? It seems as if a lot of college fans, football or basketball, have a big problem with the Blue Bloods. Again, the pillars of the sport. I don't get it. It's a lot of hate, and it doesn't really add up if we're being honest. It just doesn't. But North Carolina has the chance to prove all the doubters wrong. And I've been pretty kind to North Carolina since they've been allowed in this field. A lot of people feel as if, this was Indiana's spot. The odds makers believed this was Indiana's spot. Well, Indiana would be potentially a dog in this game if they were to match up with San Diego State. North Carolina is a top 35 team on Ken Palm, comfortably higher than that of the Aztecs. And yet, San Diego State is the side for me in this one. Now, I played this last night at plus 5.5. I want to just make this clear. Yes, I would still bet it at 4.5. But, of course, you always want to get the best of the number. For me, that is truer with nothing more than spreads, specifically, right? If you were kind of rocking and rolling for a lot of the bowl games with me, I tweeted those out as soon as I bet them. I will do the same for any March Madness sides. So I know tweet notifications, maybe you're, Shams, Rappaport. But if you want to get involved with any of the sides that I'm going to be on, I'll tweet them all out. You can get them that second because the line was moving quite a lot from San Diego State 5.5, North Carolina 5.5, and then down to 4.5. It has settled at 4.5. I'm wondering if within the next 3 hours will we see any movement. And if we do, I would expect that movement. You would think that movement would go back up. It looks as if there is at least 1.5 out there in the market. I think this number has gone too far. I think one of the driving forces of this number is not just people being fans of North Carolina, which certainly could be a factor. It is, I think all the narratives are favoring North Carolina. Oh, they didn't belong in. Well, that means they're going to go on a deep run. These teams always find a way to shut everyone up. San Diego State out of the Mountain West. Everybody's favorite fade come tournament time. A conference that, as a whole, typically does not do well when you put them in the field of 68. But for me, this is just not the perfect matchup for North Carolina. They are playing a slow, grinding defense, and that has not been kind to UNC. Of course, you can bring up Duke, who is one of the very best defenses in college basketball and a very slow team. That, though, perhaps would be a tick unfair of a comparison. You might feel as if it is a tier above type of defense when you talk about Duke and San Diego State. Well, San Diego State grades out better defensively than Clemson. And we saw Clemson dominate UNC, specifically really bottle up the North Carolina offense. Held that team to 4 of 19 shooting from beyond the arc. And San Diego State is going to drive UNC off of the three-point line, get them into the perimeter, and a hope that their size then can make life difficult on the Tar Heels. And there's also a bit of spread math in play for me here. We saw North Carolina in Charlotte, so closer to home court than I would say neutral or pure neutral, against Wake Forest, right? You just imagine the UNC faithful would have been out in abundance for that game. I understand Wake Forest is in North Carolina, but nevertheless, UNC were 5.5-point favorites in that game. Very much so a situation where San Diego State and Wake Forest should not be booked the same. And I don't think, and that's why I said I would still play the 4.5, I don't think they should be booked within a point of one another. So I am going to take the points tonight with San Diego State. I will play a prop on the UNC side, which is Seth Trimble for 10-plus points. Trimble was fantastic in the second half against Duke, finishing that game with 14 points, got to the line 9 times. They will need his driving ability in this one. Trimble had hit this in 11 of his last 15 games. But perhaps more important, he hit this in 11 of the first 12 games to start the season. This is somebody they want to be able to rely on. They were able to do that in their most recent game. I know that some of the minutes were upticked due to Elliott Cadeau foul trouble, but they then ended up playing Trimble, Davis, and Cadeau because that's how good Trimble was in the game. It was Ian Jackson minutes who really paid the price. I think you'll see enough of Seth Trimble in this one to get 10-plus points on the board. We continue to talk March Madness. It's Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is.
Game Time Decisions is live on this Tuesday as we are about to, in 25 or so minutes, have our first tournament game, which is going to be incredibly exciting, even if it is a 16-16 Alabama State and St. Francis of PA. The nice thing is, despite games being played tonight and tomorrow, we don't have to fill those brackets out until Thursday. I figured I would give the people, myself, and our upcoming guests we'll talk to tonight some questions. A question per region. You can play along, you can shout at the television, and let me know what you think. We begin in the East. And in the East region, it is, of course, Duke, the number 1 seed, a minus 140 favorite to win this region. Plus 440 Alabama, 8-1 Arizona. Everyone is 10-1 or longer. My honest question to you is, in order to cash that minus 140 number, does Duke even need Cooper Flagg? When you take a look at this region, when you take a look at the way the bracket landed here for the Blue Devils, I know the optimism is there that Cooper Flagg could very well play in game number 1 against a 16 seed. But if I told you the earliest he could play is the Final Four, do you think he would play a tournament game? Do you think they need him against Mississippi State or Baylor in the 8-9? If you're putting an Akron or Liberty on a big run to an Elite 8, do you think Duke would need Cooper Flagg there? Do you love Arizona? Do you love Oregon enough to knock out the Blue Devils? I don't think so. The earliest it would feel as if this team would need Cooper Flagg, the way it broke, would be an Elite 8 game against either Alabama, to be honest with you, St. Mary's. St. Mary's type of defense that could give the Blue Devils some trouble, quite frankly, even if Cooper Flagg is on the court. The thing is, St. Mary's is also going to be in a dogfight against Vanderbilt in the 7-10. It is incredible how much panic there was for a brief moment around the Cooper Flagg injury. And now I look at the East region, maybe you out there disagree, but I'm not sure they even need him to get out. We go to the West. Dominated, odds-wise, of course, by everybody's new favorite team, Florida. I don't mean to sound so negative, but man, these numbers are outrageous. Minus 135 to win this region. St. John's and Texas Tech plus 550, 10-1 on the Terps. My question to the people: who's the best coach in the West region? Go ahead, play along at home. Are you taking Golden? Year number 3 at Florida, year number 6 at this level. Came over from the Dons. Is this guy the best coach in college basketball? Is that where we are? The potential meeting in round number 2 is against the reigning defending I'm the best coach in the history of the sport, Dan Hurley. Back-to-back natties. Crack at the Laker job. I was told college hoops ran through stores. Some of you were like, where's that? Exactly, that was nonsense. But nevertheless, it's not just a Golden Hurley battle. Bill Self, Rick Pitino, John Calipari, if you want to be kind. I think right now, if you made me rank them, I'm still going to give Hurley the grace, despite the fact I've been hard on him this season, to put him at number 1. But, man, it is something to think about when the line will likely be near double digits if we get Florida versus UConn. How that game plays out. Because I'll tell you right now, if Hurley is able to get through Florida, then this question would receive, I think, a unanimous answer from many. South, that's Auburn at the top. Tigers not playing great basketball. We know that. They've lost 3 of their last 4. But I don't think many have found themselves incredibly impressed with this region. My question is, which double-digit seed makes the deepest run? Bryant to 15, probably a little too rich. UC San Diego, short number against Michigan. Anybody biting on Lipscomb against the banged-up Iowa State? No Keyshawn Gilbert? Anyone like Yale to do it again? Last year, it knocked out Auburn in round number 1. Still caused me some pain. Still makes me flinch when I think about it. Had a great Tiger number. All for naught. I like this New Mexico team. I'm buying in on New Mexico. I know. They say, be weary. Mountain West, I know. The evidence is there. All I'm saying, San Diego State was in the national championship game a couple of years ago. I don't think New Mexico's going that far. Overall, the conference could have another poor showing. Doesn't mean New Mexico. Doesn't mean the Lobos don't pack the bite to potentially knock off Shaka Smart and Tommy Izzo's boys in a potential 10-2 matchup in the round of 32. Lastly, and maybe the most important question, Houston or Gonzaga? When it comes to the Midwest region, Houston or Gonzaga? You know that's the question you're trying to figure out. Do you trust the Cougars to get through a criminally seeded Gonzaga team? And again, the ones who are being victimized, not Gonzaga, but Houston having to play this team in round of 32 potentially. How many of you are finishing this bracket out with Tennessee, Kentucky, UCLA, Houston, or Gonzaga? We'll be right back.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to GameTime Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than GameTime Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into GameTime Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The early line. Only on...
Back right here on SportsGrid. It is a Tuesday night. Kevin Walsh with you on Game Time Decisions. It is a busy Tuesday, so let's take a look at our options over on Sports Million Pick'em.
Happy Tuesday, everyone. It's time to jump into some Sports Millions pick'ems over here on the grid. Now, Tom, I went 1-1 yesterday. Kobe White really stood up for us for the Chicago Bulls, going higher than his point total. But Scotty Barnes really let me down again for the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors fighting for so much. I did think he would step up with a lot of players off the court, but he just didn't come out strong enough in yesterday's matchups with the Knicks. Just pouring it on. So today we're going to turn back to college basketball. What have you got for us?
Yeah, so yesterday was a 2-0 win for me in the NBA. Luke Kennard stayed lower than 3.5 rebounds. We saw some great scoring from Zach LaVine. A little bit worrisome there. He did go back to the locker room, but he came back out. Plenty of points from him. So 2 over there. Today, let's turn to college basketball. As you said, Alabama State versus St. Francis, the first four. For Alabama State, let's go to C.J. Hines, higher than 13.5 points. He is their leading scorer. I love the fact that he's gone over not just 3 straight games. These were 3 straight tournament games, right? When it matters the most, he's their leading scorer. The ball is in his hands. They are trusting him. St. Francis, they are 293 in Ken Pom defense. This is absolutely not good. I'm not expecting a ton of points from this game overall. Both teams play relatively slow, but the ball will be in C.J. Hines' hands when it matters most for Alabama State. On the other side, for St. Francis, let's turn to DeMar Kelly, lower than 10.5 points. We combine these, we get a 3x multiplier. He's had some games where he's gone over this number. He's had some games where he's gone lower than this number. The fouls continue to be an issue for Kelly. 3, 4, 5 fouls in some of these games. We're seeing 10, 12, 13 field goal attempts from other times. We're seeing only at 4 or 6 because of the fouls not being as aggressive out there. So I expect the game to stay lower scoring overall. Hines will be the main guy for Alabama State just because of his role overall, but the inconsistency from Kelly does not have me confident anyway, so lower from him. Joe, what do you got?
Okay, I'm going to turn here, Tom, to the matchup between North Carolina and San Diego State. Now, this is really a match of styles here. San Diego State loves to slow down the game. They're going to force North Carolina to try to be explosive, but I don't think they're going to be able to. We know North Carolina loves to play that high-tempo game offensively, but I think San Diego State's really going to slow them down in this game, make them grind them out, play at a slower pace than they're used to. So because of that, I do think San Diego State has every ability to pull off the win in this game with this defense really locking down. I'm going to look here for North Carolina's RJ Davis to go lower than his point total. Now that number coming in at 16.5, and it's just too high for me. I know he's ACC Player of the Year, and he will have the weight of this team on his shoulders today, but San Diego State is going to be able to contain him in this one. Davis is averaging 22.1 points per game over his last 8, hitting 45.1% from deep. But again, he's not going to have those clean looks from deep. Look for San Diego State to be in his face and not give him the room out there on the court to be able to shoot that ball nicely. Now, the last time he hit the hardwood versus Duke, he was only able to put up 8 points. He went 0 from 3 from deep, and I'm expecting that style of game out here. We did see him hit those 23 points in the game prior, but the game prior to that, Notre Dame did hold him to 13. So I'll take RJ Davis here of North Carolina lower than 16.5 points. And when I look at San Diego State, there's a couple of players I think you can look at for the rebounds and assists. But I'm going to look here at Miles Byrd. I'm going to take him lower than the 12.5 points. I really do think he's going to be feeding that ball out there to Nick Boyd. He'll get his assists, he'll get his rebounds, but I think those points are going to be hard to come by. On the season, averaging 12.6 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, 2.8 assists. But when we look at him over his last 10 games, those numbers have dropped dramatically, only averaging 10 points per game. He put up 5 versus Boise State, only 8 versus Nevada. I think Miles Byrd is pivotal in this game for the assists and the rebounds, but that point number is just too high. So give me Miles Byrd lower than 12.5 points, RJ Davis lower than 16.5 points for a 3-time multiplier here on Sports Millions.
We have plenty of college basketball this week, so make sure to stay tuned.
Enjoy Sport Millions pick'ems, but hey, making picks yourself? Well, Sports Millions has you covered. Head on over to Sports Millions Blitz'em right now and let the computer do the work. Go to sportsmillions.com/Blitz'em to be able to win a big
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think GameTime Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Back with you right here. It is Game Time Decisions on a Tuesday night. It is almost tip time in Dayton. To help us out, it is Coach James Young. JY, fantastic to have you here. Let's get right to it. People are trying to figure out what is the move for Alabama State, St. Francis of PA, a SWAC team booked as a 3.5-point favorite against the champions out of the NEC.
This is where sometimes as a coach, you do have to look at analytics and start looking at what teams do well versus what they don't do well. It's very simple. An Alabama State team that likes to push the pace, right? They want to get up and down the floor, but they need turnovers to do so. So a team that's 91st in the country in forcing turnovers versus a team that's 321st in turnovers. A team that also, Alabama State, protects the ball, 5th in turnovers versus a team that does not turn you over in 232nd. So it's a one-way in regards to how Alabama State wants to play. But then when you talk about turnovers, Kev, to me it's about steals, live ball turnovers, going the other way. 76th in the country in steals versus a team that's 355th in regards to giving it away to steals. Alabama State minus 3.5 versus St. Francis.
All right, so you have Coach's side there. For me, I'm on DeMar Kelly, 11-plus points. Nice and simple bounce-back spot. Did not close it strong against Central Connecticut, despite the victory in that game. He had been very consistent, though, in the build-up to the NEC tournament. 9 consecutive games, 10 of the 11, before his final 2 fell under this mark. Give me DeMar Kelly of St. Francis of PA. JY, the game, though, that everybody will be waiting for is North Carolina, San Diego State. There has been some line movement with this one, settling, though, largely at 4.5. Some looks like additional bets coming in on the under, 141.5. We're seeing now, how do you break down this matchup?
Honestly, Kevin, this is just a complete contrasting styles, right? When you look at a team like North Carolina that wants to get up and down the floor, 40th in average possession length, with San Diego State being 342nd in defense. So to me, it's about who plays what game. But the thing to me that I found interesting in digging into this game is UNC's adjusted defensive efficiency is 53rd. It's secretly not as bad as people think, even though they get games up and down. And San Diego State does want to push it a little bit because their average length of possession is in the middle of the pack, about 18 seconds. So to me, I look at Carolina minus a 4.5. Also, I keep thinking about, listen, they're not going to the Final Four, so I don't want people to think this. Remember VCU in 2011 when everybody was all mad that they shouldn't have got in the tournament and Shaka's team made that one run? I'm not saying they wouldn't make a run, but if you got any kind of pride here in North Carolina, you got to get this win because a lot of people, including both me and Kevin, well, maybe more me less than Kevin, don't think you deserve to be here. I think they take advantage of it. Give me Carolina minus a 4.5.
So I will say I have to be one of very few people who have opted to defend North Carolina being in this tournament and betting San Diego State. I think Yeah, I think so many people, JY, tonight will bet San Diego State because UNC doesn't deserve to be here.
Mm-hmm.
I just, again, there isn't really a metric that tells me that's true. I know people are going to say quad one. Okay, but that quad one record would then impact your strength of record, strength of resume, not the predictive metrics, right? The strength of record that has Gonzaga, right, as the 39th team in strength of record. That people said that's why they are on the 8 line. Gonzaga's 39th. Want to take a wild guess who's 38th? It's North Carolina. I'm not a UNC fan. I'm on San Diego State. But I don't think this is the travesty that everybody else does, that UNC is here. I think San Diego State's pace will make it so hard for North Carolina to be comfortable in this basketball game. And I think 5.5, which is where I bet it at, it could be the difference. I won't be stunned. I know people will find this silly. I don't care. I'd love to see both Coach and I win tonight. Why not? I know I told people to take the 4.5, so I guess I shouldn't say that. But 1, 2, 3, it could matter. It can matter when San Diego State plays things as close to the vest as they do, limiting those possessions. Now, JY, I said that I would ask everyone some questions tonight, region-specific. So I'm going to stick with the ACC. I'm going to stick with the East region, which is, of course, sees Duke booked as the favorites at minus 140. My question, though, is an attempt to put this entire region into perspective. My question, do they even need Cooper Flagg to cash that minus 140 number? I know we are expecting him to play in potentially the 116 game. But if I said, Coach, Cooper Flagg is out until the Final Four, would we see a Cooper Flagg game in the Final Four?
I would say no, but I would say if they can get to the Elite 8, because Kevin, I'm of the thought process that this top half of the draw to East is so easy for them. Mississippi State overachieved. Baylor tremendously underachieved. Kevin, we could see in the round of 32 Liberty versus Akron. That's not out of the realm of possibility at all. I don't think Oregon is worthy of a 5 seed. And you know and I know what Caleb Love can and can't do to a team. So to me, you know what? I think they can get to an Elite 8. I don't think they'll be able to get past an Alabama and the Elite 8. I would say this, maybe past Wisconsin, but if I think Alabama's going to the Elite 8, then no. But I think the interesting thing is I heard you talking during the break. Alabama, St. Mary's, if St. Mary's gets by Vanderbilt, and I think they do, is such a tricky spot for Alabama because this team, kind of like a Houston, kind of like a St. John's, they get you to play their pace. and they will slow that game down, and you will see Alabama maybe start to freak out a little bit when they can't get up and down the floor if they can't dictate the pace.
Yeah, I think it would be a really, really fun matchup to break down. The thing with Alabama, and if we do get that 2-7 game, why I likely would lean that direction. In order to beat Bama, St. Mary's probably has to score 80. The fewest points scored by a team this season to beat Alabama, Ole Miss won against this team. Incredible win, by the way. 74-64 at Bama. Now, look, they shot 5 of 20 from 3. Phylon only played 15 minutes and was 0 of 8. But it is such an uncomfortable thing. I don't know but St. Mary's has all these reps against Gonzaga. And Gonzaga is honestly a lesser version of Bama, I would argue. I would. Now, that's still a great basketball team, but St. Mary's has those reps. Coming up, Alabama State. Coach going to lay the number. St. Francis of PA. I'm on DeMar Kelly for 11-plus points. Let's talk some coaches with Coach next.
Which is a great place to be. Are you in the locker room, like you giving like the Any Given Sunday inches Al Pacino speech? Are we there yet?
Oh yeah, I think we've been there. We're gonna have a long talk with Rob today about the 99-199 issue from last week. Like I just don't get how he is still employed. We gotta talk to ownership about that one.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
They're also showing a little bit more propensity to take the pull-up jumper, which I think is important for them. Aiden Holloway's been better. Brant Nelson's getting staying out of foul trouble. Clifford Murray is attacking the offensive boards and being the defensive threat that they need. If Alabama can defend, and they make a run, and they win the SEC tournament, I think they're the fourth number one seed.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
That is also value to be the best player on the best team. To me, it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. There is no doubt about it.
The Nuggets probably going to finish, second overall in the conference here, and it's not going to get him the MVP. We'll see how it is down the stretch, and I assume this is going to tighten up, but barring a huge drop-off for OKC as a team, not just SGA, you could probably pencil him in for 30 a night.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Hey, if somebody could pipe this into DeMar Kelly, got it out of your system. Now let's take a deep breath and let's figure it out. First three from the top of the key. I think a wide right air ball, if my eyes didn't deceive me. I'm not sure.
Truly.
Yeah, but wide right, all air. Whoa.
Hey.
Hold on.
A little different backdrop here. A little different backdrop here.
Joe, I want to first just say let people know about the conversation that you had today with former Iowa coach on the network, Fran McCaffrey.
Yeah, so I had a really good conversation with Coach McCaffrey about a myriad of things. The number one thing I wanted to know, and I think at 66, 67 years old, what does he want to do? Was this just kind of a ride off into the sunset? And what I found, Kevin, was someone that has a ton of fire left, a guy that is steadfast in his belief that he wants to coach next year, a guy that's taken 4 teams to the NCAA tournament, and a guy that's ready, folks, built programs. And the thing I looked at, particularly in Iowa, I know, Luka Garza was a 4-star recruit, but the Murray twins were like 368 and 369. He overachieves with teams. Now, and the other thing I got out of Coach is you see like the game he went out on, right? Double tech thrown out. There was a time a couple of years ago where he was staring down the referee for the entirety of a media timeout, which is about 2.5 minutes. What I found is the guy that's humble. I found the guy that believes in character and building things the right way. If I am a coach, and I know that DeVries got Indiana, right, which is a great hire, a grinder. If I'm a high-level program that has not won in a while or needs a reset to rebuild this program, I'm calling Fran McCaffrey because he's got a track record of building up teams. And I think if he ever got the chance to play the coach of the team, remember, Iowa's NIL money was near the bottom or the bottom of the Big Ten. The bottom. If he is able to build a program and you give him NIL money that is on par with the top of the league, I think Fran McCaffrey's got one more hit in him, and I think he's going to do a hell of a job wherever he goes.
I know Iona seemingly already has their guy. Fran McCaffrey would be welcome in New Rochelle. That's a brand of basketball I can get behind. For the Moneyline listeners, they know exactly what I'm talking about. JY, on the topic of coaches, mentioned there's, kind of a question per region. West region, Florida's the favorite. And, Florida is playing so well right now. Golden's a young coach, man. He's 6 years into his high-level career here. Only his 3rd season, I believe it is now, with the Gators. My question, JY, and I know this is going to be a tough one for you, so I almost apologize, but I don't. Who is the best coach, you knew it was coming, in the West region?
Oof. Oh. I mean, you could go with like 4, 5, 6 different guys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, listen. Let's be honest. You can make a case for Golden's had the best year, right? But you can go up and down the line. You could look at what Kevin Willard's done for a long time. You could look at Bill Self. You could look at Cal. But for what he's done at all these stops, I think it's Pitino. He's won everywhere he's gone. He's got this is his 5th or 6th team I think he's gotten to the tournament, right? This could be the 4th different team he's taken to the Final Four. Remember, he took Providence, obviously, Kentucky, Louisville, and it's just amazing to me. I still remember going to watch St. John's versus Seton Hall last year at UBS. And they got beat up. And Pitino, if you remember, he ripped his team. And I'm like, this guy's done, man. Get this guy up out of here. This guy's past his prime. And 1 year later, he's got a team that absolutely is a resemblance of himself. The concern is the ability to make threes. But like I've said before, 2 teams in the last 25 years have shot under 33% from 3 and made the Final Four. Rick Pitino's Louisville team and Rick Pitino's Louisville team.
I will say I went through, since 2000, Tom Izzo won the national championship in just his 5th year at Michigan State. Since then, only one national championship was won, or only one coach won his first national championship while being in not their 13th season or later, right? Meaning they had at least 12 years already under their belt. And that was Kevin Ollie in year number 2 at UConn. Now, 1, a crazy run. 2, they should have fired Calipari a decade ago. Every single historical thing makes me not stand that Kentucky. My goodness, did they win way less championships than they should have. They obviously, though, had won the title 2 years ago, so UConn had a... Kevin Ollie would feel a little bit more similar to Shire in terms of program inheritance. Golden's comp would be Izzo. While lofty, that's where we are if he's able to get this done. You know, the typical way to win a national championship is to have about 15 years under your belt before you're able to cut those nets down. Our coach, though, James Young, helping us out here, get set for some big games tonight. JY, we appreciate it as always.
My man, see you later in the week.
Yes, sir. All right, we're right back here on Game Time Decisions.
Which is a great place to be. Are you in the locker room, like you giving like the Any Given Sunday inches Al Pacino speech? Are we there yet?
Oh yeah, I think we've been there. We're gonna have a long talk with Rob today about the 99-199 issue from last week. Like I just don't get how he is still employed. We gotta talk to ownership about that one.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
They're also showing a little bit more propensity to take the pull-up jumper, which I think is important for them. Aiden Holloway's been better. Brant Nelson's staying out of foul trouble. Clifford Murray is attacking the offensive boards and being the defensive threat that they need. If Alabama can defend, and they make a run, and they win the SEC tournament, I think they're the 4th number 1 seed.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
That is also value to be the best player on the best team. To me, it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. There is no doubt about it.
The Nuggets probably going to finish, 2nd overall in the conference here, and it's not going to get him the MVP. We'll see how it is down the stretch, and I assume this is going to tighten up, but barring a huge drop-off for OKC as a team, not just SGA, you could probably pencil him in for 30 a night.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, live right now. It's an 8-0 run for St. Francis. On my TV, you at home may be a little bit ahead, which is fine. We don't want to be throwing you any spoilers for this game right here. I see it 14-10 with about 13 minutes left on the clock in this game. Our guy, DeMar Kelly, is on the board with a point, but it's actually Juan Cranford Jr. right now lighting it up from beyond the arc. So, and he was at, I believe, 11.5, so 12+ if you were playing it in this game there. Off to a nice little start for St. Francis. We will, of course, keep our eye on this game We are going to bring in some of the NFL offseason conversations with Mike Blewett, as we have been doing on Tuesdays. We'll talk to Mike a little bit about the bracket as well. I just want to make a quick pit stop over in the NBA. No Steph Curry tonight for the Warriors. They are now hoping what happened to them last night can happen for them tonight. At the end result, by the way, we did discuss it on the show, of course, was, man, it doesn't really look like Denver's going to play their guys. Because Christian Brown was probable. They had the questionable tag on Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon and Nikola Jokic. Gordon played, Murray and Jokic sat, and the 38 points that you got from Aaron Gordon, I think a career high, led to a Denver Nuggets upset on a closing number of 12.5, 13.5. But my bigger takeaway is, here's the thing with Golden State. This team is going to, it feels like, give me no sample size of high-level matchups post-Jimmy trade, or at least not enough for me to sink my teeth into. Talked about it. They went to Milwaukee, no Giannis. They went to the Knicks, no Cat. They host the Knicks, no Brunson. They host the Nuggets, no Jokic, no Murray. Now, tonight they host Milwaukee, no Steph. So if they lose, it's throw it out the window again, kind of, right? This team will go to Memphis, go to L.A., host Denver, host Houston. That's what you're going to have to rely on. But here's the thing, that 4-game run. How many games you get full effort? How many games does your opponent give you full effort? The list is dwindling. I will also say for the Lakers last night, what should have been a great evening standings-wise ended up being a whole bunch of nothing. Memphis lost to Sacramento, but Golden State allowing Denver to win that game did not help, because now Denver is a little bit more rested going into that game and didn't have to pay a price for it. And on top of that, the Rockets completely no-showed a home game against the Sixers, trailed by 25 points, and an improbable late comeback in the final 15 seconds of this game saw Houston send it to overtime and win. The Lakers today could have been a 2 seed. Instead, they're sitting 4, which would then mean a round 2 matchup with the clear-cut favorites in this conference, the Oklahoma City Thunder. I will say, if the season ended today, the 3-6 being Denver Golden State feels tough for both of those teams, knowing that there is not a pathway for both to advance to round number 2. Certainly going to be very important to keep our eyes on the race out there in the Western Conference. I will tell you, tonight's NBA board, it's not calling my name. It's not. It's March. I mean, I don't think tonight's NBA board is calling the NBA's name. There's 4 games. Stars are sitting. I mean, who's even playing on Cleveland tonight? 2.5-point favorite against the Clippers. Evan Mobley, game time decision. You can kind of get that sense that the NBA is waiting for the postseason to start. And I think a lot of the fans share that sentiment that you are getting right now off of the players. 17-12 lead right now for St. Francis of PA. Live totals 140.5. St. Francis has slipped to a slight -122 money line favorite. We're going to take a break. When we get back here, we will talk some brackets with Blewett, but National Football League, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, back. Who's drafting first overall? The QB carousel. Does Aaron Rodgers even want a seat on it? We'll talk about it all next.
which is a great place to be. Are you in the locker room, like you're giving like the Any Given Sunday inches Al Pacino speech? Are we there yet?
Oh yeah, I think we've been there. We're gonna have a long talk with Rob today about the 99-199 issue from last week. Like I just don't get how he is still employed. We gotta talk to ownership about that one.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
They're also showing a little bit more propensity to take the pull-up jumper, which I think is important for them. Aiden Holloway's been better. Brant Nelson's staying out of foul trouble. Clifford Murray is attacking the offensive boards and being the defensive threat that they need. If Alabama can defend, and they make a run, and they win the SEC tournament, I think they're the fourth number one seed.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
That is also value to be the best player on the best team. To me, it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. There is no doubt about it.
The Nuggets probably going to finish, second overall in the conference here, and it's not going to get him the MVP. We'll see how it is down the stretch, and I assume this is going to tighten up, but barring a huge drop-off for OKC as a team, not just SGA, you could probably pencil him in for 30 a night.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of 18.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Live right here on SportsGrid, Game Time Decisions. Kevin Walsh with you on this Tuesday night. I am not alone. My guy Mike Blewett right here with me as well. It is Game Time Decisions. Mike, always good to talk to you. How are you feeling with the madness underway? This is the kind of game, Mike, I feel you get fired up for, Alabama State and St. Francis of PA.
I mean, look, when we're talking about first four, I'm first man in to bet on the first four, so I'm fired up about it. Whatever I can do to get excited about March Madness, whether it's me feigning excitement or not, I'm your guy. But I'm clearly excited about it. I know people are still filling out their brackets. There isn't necessarily pressure to have it all done tonight, but the first four gets me juiced up. I've been to that building in Dayton. They have tremendous fans. So really, of all the venues that I've been to, that one always made the most sense to me for the first four. So I'm excited to get it going.
Yeah, DRS today was doing his usual crusade against the Midwest, suggesting that it should be held California, this, that, and the third. Short-sighted, undoubtedly by Donnie to think we need to throw it on a coast.
Really? My God, he's a coastal elite. Donnie Rightside, coastal elite. What are we doing here, Donnie? Try to enter the state of Ohio once in your life. Check out Dayton. It's a field house, great building. Yeah. So I encourage anybody to go see a basketball game there.
Let me ask you, Mike, for you who has, Mike, deals a lot, knows the college basketball landscape very well. I want to actually, Mike, bring up, I haven't talked about it a lot on Game Time Decisions because I don't know how much our general audience is infatuated with Iona moving on from their head coach. Because I know I went to Iona, but again, it's ultimately a MAC school. Now, it's caught a lot of people by surprise. The college basketball faithful had a lot of opinions on the matter. But I want to ask you about it because part of the press release seemed to indicate the new landscape played a big factor. Funding, business model, I think, was used in the statement. I'm wondering if you had a reaction to Iona's decision or maybe even just the landscape right now that could potentially force some of these teams' hands and how they view their coaches and how much time they can maybe give these coaches.
Yeah, I think all of those things that you said are true. It's a pretty broad topic. I'll just tick off a couple of things that I think are important. One, moving on from Tobin so quickly is probably a surprise to some, but as you said, the statements indicate that they are going to be more aggressive. They had set a certain standard by at least getting to championship games, moving on to the big dance whenever possible, and they set a standard that he didn't live up to in the 2 years. I think when you talk about business model and the way things have changed, coaches like this do need to be aggressive in the transfer portal and in high school. Some of these mid-major schools have it a little bit tougher because if a player is a player of the year in the MAC at Iona, hypothetically, he's going to get poached by a bigger program, right? The SEC has 14 teams littered with transfer portal players, and that is the business model for those high major teams. So those mid to low major teams are looking for maybe somebody to elevate slightly or find playing time and a better coaching situation on their team. Plus, they are trying to find some high school gems that may utilize Iona or other MAC schools as a stepping stone to a bigger program. So you have to, in those programs, recruit on both ends, but doesn't mean it's not possible. Yale went to the tournament last year, lost their 3 leading scorers, and they're back in the tournament again, just to pick another team that maybe isn't from a high major conference. So I think that indicates a lot. It also indicates that perhaps they are going to put somebody behind this program and fuel it with some NIL money in order to get some of those transfer portal or high school players to elevate. What's difficult for this, though, is that, and Kev, you know this from in the corporate world, I know many commissioners and I've had many discussions with athletic directors and coaches over the years. And I think a few years ago, there was a prevailing thought process about elevating conferences, mid-major conferences, so that they could potentially compete their way into multiple bids. And unfortunately, from where I sit right now, I think that dream is dead for just about everybody. If a school like the A10 can't get a second school in, or the SoCon or the CAA or the Missouri Valley, which have had historically really strong teams, if they're only getting one team in a year, I assure you that the MAC and other conferences of that ilk are going to struggle to get a second team in, other than somebody going undefeated and dropping the championship game. It would be hard due to strength of schedule and everything else. So I say all that because it's important to know that even if this tournament expands to 72 or 76 or 96 teams, it's going to continue to be more loaded with those power conference schools.
Yeah, I think it's really well said. Maybe some would have thought, oh, well, if the SEC is so good, there's going to be just teams with records that they can't survive. And instead it was 14 teams that made it in from the SEC. Now, the reality is the committee's approach can change year over year, so it doesn't mean that now every year a loaded conference will flood the field. But Mike is right. It makes it. There were people who had Drake tickets that were watching the OVC championship game with bated breath because that team, who is certainly dangerous to make a real run in the tournament, could have very well been left out had they not received that automatic bid. They ended up on the 10 line. Yeah, but if the loss got put on the resume, that might have put them in the first 4 out.
Drake and VCU, Kev. Drake and VCU are 11 seeds. One's 30-3, one is 28-6. And VCU was in a dogfight, just like Drake was. VCU was in a dogfight with George Mason. If George Mason won, VCU was not getting in, which is crazy to me.
I mean, UC San Diego, right, is a 12, and we know just, kind of how that team is viewed, and I think it becomes a really fascinating state of things potentially. But look, I also think what can potentially benefit some of these schools is just get as good of coaches in there as you possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if that's why we're seeing Iona is seemingly connected to an NBA assistant, some cachet potentially, right? And Fran McCaffrey spoke with Coach James Young earlier today on the network, and I'm sure Fran would love to be at another Big Ten school, an ACC school, and I have no idea how. But if he could come in and really, raise all boats at certain levels around the country if a guy like Fran McCaffrey, Mike, landed in even a WCC if something like that was given the opportunity.
Yeah, he's certainly on the short list for his alma mater at Penn, too. So the Ivy League has gotten pretty competitive. It would be interesting to see him there, too. He's 65 years old. He's not done coaching, and you wonder if that has some appeal to him to try to compete in the Ivy League.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Again, it'll be really interesting to watch a lot of this play out. Mike, before you and I shift to everything around the NFL, I am curious, have you filled out a bracket already as the Final Four materialized?
I would say everything's in pencil right now, Kev.
Okay.
But yeah, I've made a few. I think Duke certainly has the easiest path of the 1 seeds, but it should be a really fun one.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're going to get over to the National Football League with Mike Blewett next on Game Time Decisions.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Back right here on Game Time Decisions. Kevin Walsh with Mike Blewett. We are right now seeing a very close competitive game between St. Francis and Alabama State, a game that is trending over at right now live 141 and a half. Mike, let's talk some NFL. Let's just get to the big one right away. Cincinnati has gone in and paid T, Jamar, and now maybe like, at this point might as well pay Trey Hendrickson. What are your thoughts around the Cincinnati Bengals retaining some of their best guys?
So I think we are at a point now where you can appreciate the fact that they are keeping that homegrown talent, but I don't really know how they are going to be able to play this stars and scrubs thing, for lack of a better term, long, over the long haul, right? They are still looking for additional talent on the defensive line along with Trey Hendrickson. They're going to need offensive linemen in order to protect Joe Burrow. Their defense was really legit a couple of years ago. They let Jesse Bates walk away. They've messed around with the Hendrickson thing. Sam Hubbard retired just a couple of weeks ago. So they're a very talented team. And I think it's going to be a really fun team long term. But they are paying T. Higgins $29 million. I think he's wildly talented, but he's never had more than 75 catches in a season. He obviously was not consistently on the field last year. But I'm torn a little bit in that I appreciate that they hung on to their good players, but we're paying two wide receivers $70 million. So keeping in mind that the cap has elevated quite a bit, those numbers seemingly are eye-popping. You have to do it all as a percentage of the cap. When you take those four players, Burrow, Higgins, Chase, and Hendrickson, if Hendrickson gets market value, then they might be looking as much as 40% of the cap on four players.
Yeah, it is a position that they were put in. Mike knows this. I'm very player friendly. Burrow has to wear a lot of whatever happens moving forward, and to some degree what has played out. Burrow was very quiet last offseason. And Cincinnati did what they always do then, and they sat on their hands. Now, he was very vocal this offseason. Well, guess what happened? Next thing you know, the whole team is paid.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it is not up to Joe Burrow to run the organization. But Joe Burrow did then insert himself, put a whole nother level of pressure on this team to retain this core. And if that, then you have to make the playoffs. I don't think that's, okay? Got to make the playoffs if you're Joe Burrow. That's just the reality. I don't care about how bad the defense is. I really don't. You got to make the playoffs. Enough of the I don't know how to play football until week 4 that we get from him every year, Mike. That can't be what it is.
Totally agree. The slow starts are inexcusable for Zach Taylor, for Joe Burrow. And yeah, they went 9-8. Is that a feather in your cap? Nobody cares if you don't make the playoffs. The fans don't really care other than the diehards. And Zach Taylor did jettison Lou Anarumo, their longtime defensive coordinator. So they are obviously going to be looking for a way to get better defensively. But I still see them in some shootouts. Hopefully they can get a couple of draft picks that help them out to protect Joe Burrow, because they lost Alex Kappa to the Raiders, and it's not a complete team. That's the problem, Kev. Like they could have snuck in if they got a little bit of help from Denver or Kansas City at the end of the year, but that's not the way you play it, right? You can't lose a whole bunch of games at the beginning of the year and then talk about how good you are at the end if you miss the playoffs.
Speaking of draft picks, Mike, we have now seen on DraftKings odds of the position for teams' first draft pick. And some of the teams who have maybe been linked to quarterback, some of those numbers really jumped off the page to our team here. So the notable teams to draft a quarterback with their first selection: Giants, minus 600, almost double that of Tennessee. Cleveland, a favorite, at minus 120, plus 450 Pittsburgh, 12-1 on the Raiders. The Giants number, Mike, is astonishing because it is expected Tennessee will take Cam Ward at 1 right now through the odds. Has all of a sudden Shedeur Sanders' love wrapped back around, and now we feel he can come off of the board third? Or maybe plus 350 Travis Hunter at 3? What do we think here?
So to your point, the odds do not line up. You have Cam Ward at minus 700 to be the number 1 overall pick. The Giants are at minus 600. The Giants is unlikely, as far as you and I sitting here, that the Giants would just move up to number 1 on the draft board to swap with the Titans. I'm pretty fascinated by all of this because of where the Browns sit. Are the Browns going to pull what the Niners did to the Bears with Trubisky? Are they going to hold out, draw it out, act like they're going to draft a quarterback, and then try to get the Giants to pay to move up that one pick? That's what I'll be fascinated by. But you definitely start to hear the Shedeur Sanders to Giants link more and more often.
Yeah, and that is a really fascinating situation because it could then see Travis Hunter, it's seemingly far more than Abdul Carter, fall down the board. 4 New England, 5 Jacksonville. Is it on the board that Travis Hunter, Mike, isn't a top 5 pick?
I do not think so.
Okay.
But I do not think that will happen. But I think it's on the board. I just don't. I was at one point convinced that Carter was going to go number 1.
Mm-hmm.
But I probably talked myself into that a little bit. I think the Titans really do have to take a hard look at a QB. They're not going to be in this position they're not going to be in this position hopefully anytime soon. So I think they have to take a hard look at a QB. But if I'm them, they need so much. I really would just grade it best player. And if they like Carter more than they like Ward and Sanders, I think they go Carter.
It's going to be fascinating, again, to follow all of this movement. A few other notable teams. We'll break those down with Mike. Update you on the St. Francis PA game next as well.
Which is a great place to be. Are you in the locker room, like you giving like the Any Given Sunday Inches Al Pacino speech? Are we there yet?
Oh yeah, I think we've been there. We're gonna have a long talk with Rob today about the 99-199 issue from last week. Like I just don't get how he is still employed. We gotta talk to ownership about that one.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
They're also showing a little bit more propensity to take the pull-up jumper, which I think is important for them. Aiden Holloway's been better. Brant Nelson's staying out of foul trouble. Clifford Murray is attacking the offensive boards and being the defensive threat that they need. If Alabama can defend, and they make a run, and they win the SEC tournament, I think they're the 4th number 1 seed.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
That is also value to be the best player on the best team. To me, it's Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. There is no doubt about it.
The Nuggets probably going to finish, 2nd overall in the conference here, and it's not going to get him the MVP. We'll see how it is down the stretch, and I assume this is going to tighten up, but barring a huge drop-off for OKC as a team, not just SGA, you could probably pencil him in for 30 tonight.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
St. Francis leading by 5 on Alabama State with about 2 minutes to go here in the opening game of the play-in portion of the NCAA tournament. Our guy DeMar Kelly, some foul trouble, so going to need a surge in half number 2 to get through the points prop. It was always Cranford who just knocked down another triple. St. Francis's first half team totals through, if not already the full first half team total through its number, as we are seeing points aplenty for St. Francis, who is going to get around what they needed to even make it to this spot, 49 in the NEC Championship game. We're joined by Mike Blewett here. Mike, just quickly on the quarterbacks, and then we're going to talk a little Ashton Jeanty. The first three teams with the best odds to draft quarterback with their first pick are the first three teams drafting. And then it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. How realistic does it feel to you that Pittsburgh comes away with a quarterback in round one?
Well, the two teams that we've been talking about for the last 10 minutes, and the Steelers and the Giants, are obviously hinging on another decision, right? And I think whoever gets Aaron Rodgers, whichever way it ends up leaning, that team comes off the board for QB, right? They're not going to – I don't think they invest in Aaron Rodgers and then look for the developmental quarterback in the first round. I think they do look for that developmental quarterback in the latter rounds, but I think the Steelers are completely live to take a QB. They weren't afraid to take a swing on Pickett. I didn't love the pick at the time. I just didn't think he had it to be an impact starter in the NFL. But in some ways, I appreciated taking the swing, right? And here, I wouldn't be surprised if they take another one as well. What we're seeing is, and Kevin and I have talked about this guy already, players like Jackson Dart and Tyler Shough that are seeing from various mock drafts, various respected people within the NFL are seeing their evaluations rise relative to the rest of the class. So if the Steelers took a swing, especially on Dart, who's not 26 years old like Shough will be when the season starts, I don't think that would surprise me terribly. But I need to know who Arthur Smith wants to work with, because the only way this is all going to work is if Arthur Smith likes the QB and lets him play the way he wants to play. Is it a lot of play action? Is Jackson Dart going to be the guy to do that? Does he want to go downfield more? If it doesn't work out this year and the Steelers spiral offensively again and go like 8-9, then I actually do think there'll be a huge change in Pittsburgh.
Which would, of course, be just so if it does happen, because then we find out if Mike Tomlin will be hired in 5 seconds, like everybody says, would be the case for years. Mike, we go into these drafts years now. We're like, man, some of these running backs are good, but we know nobody's going to take them. Bijan comes off of the board 8th. Here's the sneaky thing about Bijan. Fantastic football player. Atrocious pick. The Falcons passed on Jalen Carter. Are you kidding me? Jahmyr Gibbs. Fantastic football player. Fantastic. Detroit still thinks they should give Montgomery 50% of the workload. Ashton Jeanty, when he goes in the top 10, it won't be any level of surprise. The odds are telling us if he doesn't go 10, it's because he went 6th to the Raiders. Are you at all surprised at how high Jeanty is being viewed, mocked, and expected to go in this upcoming draft?
Yes. The only thing I would push back about your statement earlier, and I align mostly with saying that you have to consider positional value when it comes to running backs in the first round. The common thread between, say, Barkley, McCaffrey, and the two players you mentioned in Gibbs and Bijan is that they are also pass-catching threats, and they would have to be, right? What level of pass-catching threat is Ashton Jeanty? That's the question I would ask. I think it is a must that is the type of player that can catch minimum 50 balls in a season and do something with that. Saquon wasn't asked to do it as much, but we know obviously from his days at the Giants, he can do it all day long. He's got great hands. So I think that that is an important component to this. When the Steelers drafted Najee Harris, it felt like it was an ownership pick. I think Najee Harris played fairly well, and now the Steelers couldn't even give him $5 million to stay. It is a complicated situation when you take a running back and the team isn't ready to succeed right away because a lot is thrown on them, and then you have situations like Barkley leaving, Najee Harris leaving, and they didn't accomplish anything with their original teams.
It's going to be fascinating to watch play out. Mike Blewett will be with us throughout that process. Appreciate it, Mike. We'll update you 16 versus 16 next.
which is a great place to be. Are you in the locker room, like you giving like the Any Given Sunday inches Al Pacino speech? Are we there yet?
Oh yeah, I think we've been there. We're gonna have a long talk with Rob today about the 99-199 issue from last week. Like I just don't get how he is still employed. We got to talk to ownership about that one.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
They're also showing a little bit more propensity to take the pull-up jumper, which I think is important for them. Aiden Holloway's been better. Brant Nelson's staying out of foul trouble. Clifford Laurie is attacking the offensive boards and being the defensive threat that they need. If Alabama can defend, and they make a run, and they win the SEC tournament, I think they're the fourth number one seed.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
That is also value to be the best player on the best team. To me, it's Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. There is no doubt about it.
The Nuggets probably going to finish, second overall in the conference here, and it's not going to get him the MVP. We'll see how it is down the stretch, and I assume this is going to tighten up, but barring a huge drop-off for OKC as a team, not just SGA, you could probably pencil him in for 30 a night.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, live right here with you on this Tuesday night. And we have the first 20 in the books. Alabama State trails St. Francis of PA. The Red Flash up 39-34. A live 2.5-point favorite, minus 148 on the money line. Your total sitting now at 147.5. The Alabama State team total 73.5. 74.5 on St. Francis. A bit more expensive. You do have some of our favorites from the in-game live portions that will be in full effect come Thursday. Both teams to score in a minute, but really number of made threes in those 4-minute intervals. Always a good time. So those are out and available. What stands out from as much as I'm able to watch this game, you kind of back check it a little bit right through the box score. But St. Francis able to knock down their threes, specifically Cranford, who was someone I took a look at between him and Kelly. Obviously, Cranford already threw his numbers on a piping hot 4 or 5 shooting from 3. Here's the interesting thing. So at 6 for 12, the team looks like they're doing great. It's 2 guys who are combined 6 of 9 in Cranford and Parker. The others would be 0 for 3. It is 6 of 18 from Alabama State. The real difference in this game is the shooting. And really more so the lack of shooting from the free throw line for Alabama State. Alabama State with just 3 turnovers to 9 for St. Francis. But they've been able to get to the line, and they're scoring at will, realistically, right? 7 of 10 from 2. So, I mean, they are lighting this team up whenever they do not turn it over. That feels unsustainable, I would say. If the turnovers continue, then St. Francis is going to have a tough time scoring. We're at 39-34. So that's 73 points. Live total 147.5. Under 74.5 live number. Under That's the thought. That's the thought for me. I don't know if anybody else wants to bite. Pre-game total was, we know, falling, right? 140, or no, I think 36.5 was the close. We're well north of that, which is a good reminder. You know, of course, this time of year, there will be a lot of trends out there. If you are seeing a trend, what feels like for the second, third year in a row, I would be careful. Because, and what I'm referring to is specifically first half totals. I just feel that this year now, I am seeing the first half under trend from so many places, or not the first time. And I think that you then kind of get that group approach. Countless bets may come in on some first half unders. And you might find those numbers to not feel fair. Now, I know that plenty of you don't bet that way. But no, if this is this and this, who cares, right? Just first half under trend, close the eyes, click the button, move on. But if those are all now going the other way, and you're like, wow, I'm losing these by 1, by 2, by 3, I'm losing these close, you might not be getting the real number. You'll be able to tell, too. I'll give you an idea, right? So San Diego State, North Carolina is a 141.5, right? That first half total 65.5. Sounds about right. Maybe a tick light. It's not 141.5, 70.5. It's not. The first half is always lower. It's kind of that banked in foul game that you get in half number 2. It's always how college totals are booked. But if that was, say, 62.5, you go, okay, that's a discrepancy. That shouldn't be. That's something that it looks like that because of maybe just additional first half under trends. So I think that is something worth keeping eye on. I think it's a live under. I think it's a live under here in Alabama State, St. Francis of PA. Let's see, 140. Let's see if I can get live numbers across the card. Is that possible for the people? That'd be nice. I don't think I can. I'm trying. Looks like I'm seeing another 147.5 though, which is good. Yeah, I like under. Anybody in the back have a live play? Let's see if anybody in the back is tempted. Nobody wants to touch this game. Or maybe they've already made their money. Maybe they've already cashed in. Let's just quickly re-rack North Carolina, San Diego State. This is, of course, the big game, the one that a lot of you are waiting for tonight. I'm on San Diego State at plus 5.5. Yes, I would still bet them at plus 4.5. San Diego State defensively is just a level that I think North Carolina will be very uncomfortable with. UNC, of course, we know they've not been able to beat quad 1 opponents. San Diego State actually would not qualify as a quad 1 opportunity for North Carolina, but they have an elite defense. They have a defense that grades out better than Clemson from a defensive efficiency standpoint, right? Better than UCLA, right, who UNC played early season. That is an elite unit that San Diego State brings, limits the possessions. North Carolina feels uncomfortable, creates opportunity. I wonder if the consig agrees, donning the Tar Heel blue. Talk to me, Dave. What are you hearing around UNC San Diego State?
Man, oh man. You hear anyone that says, you know what, give me San Diego State on the money line. Hey, doesn't sound like people like them, even plus the points. But, you know, it doesn't mean they're not going to win. I don't know. But you don't get many times, there hasn't been many times this season, to don the baby blue and the Tar Heel blue and the Tar Heel hat and all that stuff. So we're on it tonight. We're going to watch the game live tonight with Wetzel on In Game Live. We've got a couple guests to watch the game along with. I don't know. I mean, but when you look at the winner of this game, K-Dub, they could win a second game, can they not?
So, look, of course, either team could win a second game. I will say I've gone through a little bit kind of Ole Miss and what it feels like they will bring to the table. Ole Miss is kind of, you hope, a thanks for being here team in that they might make it real easy on you. Hey, are they decidedly better than the team they're playing? They're going to win that game. Are they decidedly worse than the team they're playing? They're going to lose that game. So it feels like they'll beat UNC or San Diego State. They absolutely will not beat Iowa State. Famous last words. But Dave, they feel like it's March. A simple, hey, listen, this is what it should be, and that's what it actually is going to be. A reminder to people as we hit the break here, we're going under 147.5 live. Alabama State, St. Francis of PA. Listen, we got to grease these wheels, baby. We got a lot of in-game lives around the tournament. Why not get in the mix on a 147.5 under? We're back with Dave Sharapan after this quick break here on SportsGrid.
Which is a great place to be. Are you in the locker room, like you're giving like the Any Given Sunday inches Al Pacino speech? Are we there yet?
Oh yeah, I think we've been there. We're gonna have a long talk with Rob today about the 99-199 issue from last week. Like I just don't get how he is still employed. We gotta talk to ownership about that one.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
They're also showing a little bit more propensity to take the pull-up jumper, which I think is important for them. Aiden Holloway's been better. Brant Nelson's getting staying out of foul trouble. Clifford Murray is attacking the offensive boards and being the defensive threat that they need. If Alabama can defend, and they make a run, and they win the SEC tournament, I think they're the fourth number one seed.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
That is also value to be the best player on the best team. To me, it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. There is no doubt about it.
The Nuggets probably going to finish, second overall in the conference here, and it's not going to get him the MVP. We'll see how it is down the stretch, and I assume this is going to tighten up, but barring a huge drop-off for OKC as a team, not just SGA, you could probably pencil him in for 30 tonight.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of 18.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, back to the right here. It's game time decisions. We're on the live under 147.5 for Alabama State and St. Francis, PA. Dave with us here. Dave, talk to me. Handle-wise, how do we do here in these play-in games? Big time? Bigger than we should? 16 games get ignored?
16 game gets ignored. For a long time, it wouldn't even register on the radar with the NBA games of the day. Now, granted, the NBA games today the good ones are later. So the handle today is going to build. There's a good hockey slate today, but NBA, not till later. Milwaukee, Golden State, and the Clippers game, later as well. So this first game won't do nearly close to anything like that. But the second game, with it being brand names, and at least in Vegas out on the West Coast with a Mountain West team in San Diego State, that one will do some handle. Nationally, I think that one will do handle too because it's in prime time. Sometimes, Kevin, the time of the game is as much as or more important than who is playing in the game.
The question I have for you, and I know it may be tough, but maybe I know you're always asking questions. I just don't know if you've checked yet. Is there any standout Thursday or Friday game yet, action-wise? Maybe it's a mount, maybe it's one-sided, maybe it's a total. But I'm wondering if any of that information started to come across your plate.
So the Thursday slate is really interesting. The games in Denver. There's a lot of buzz about the games in Denver. And obviously UC San Diego and Michigan is the late game there. That's going to do the most of those four games. The early one, at least out west, Montana and Wisconsin, okay, that's the biggest spread, and people are looking for a reason to take Montana. VCU and BYU is next, and then the later session there is Yale and Texas A&M. K-Dub, this Yale team's getting – I mean, they're not just a smart basketball team. There's legit buzz that they can not only cover the spread but win the game. And I think, I don't know, my buddy Chris down at the South Point put out a bet today. It was SEC versus everybody. You could have the SEC versus the field to win a championship. There are genuinely people trying to fade the SEC. And I think that one is the one that initially pops to me anyway from the guys that I've been talking to and the people that are coming to town. Is, believe it or not, Yale and Texas A&M. They're looking to fade Texas A&M.
I've not clicked. I'm on the other side. I don't think Yale for them, no reps against a team like A&M. The Ivy's kind of up and down.
Right.
And Yale's really good offensively. So, Cornell gets out there like, let's run around. Yale's like, are you? All right, whatever. Bang, bang, bucket. A&M's like, whoa, slow down. You're gonna feel us a little bit. And I listen. Yale clipped an SEC team last year. Never forget it. Sad day in the house. Sad day in the house. Not only an 85-1 ticket that I had to keep promising people was real, crumbled. Even worse, the Mrs. First bracket, day number one, unbelievable. Investment level through the roof. The champions Auburn. Just let her get to the weekend.
Yeah.
Now, March Madness was canceled on that faithful Friday, unfortunately, due to Yale. So it's how it broke out. One thing we are seeing, Dave, kind of there's a tab, parlay your bracket. I think it's actually really smart kind of marketing and things of that nature. One thing, though, that I do find very interesting, and it is chalk, but it is not. And I know you'll stick with me on this.
All right.
If I told you, hey, I put all the 1 seeds in the Final Four, you'd go, chalk. But then you'd be like, how many other people did that? Well, nobody. Right? Well, because it's not going to be all the number ones. It's a 12-1 payout. It was 13 the other day. Would you consider putting all the 1 seeds in a Final Four? Or does it just feel like no way it's going to happen?
How many times has it happened? I think I
saw 2008.
Once. Okay. So no. The answer would be no. I don't think it. I mean, the answer is simple.
No.
Yeah. No, can't do it. 12-1's nice. And if you like that sort of thing, can't say that, you shouldn't do it, but it wouldn't be for me. No.
What if I told you
so can I say 2? Two is the number, isn't it?
I want to dress it up a different way.
Okay.
So we've talked about the Ken Palm net rating. I know it's not for everybody. but teams of 35 plus, I believe it's the last 10 or 15 years we've had 3 of them. They've all made the Final Four. This year alone, we have 4. It's all the 1 seeds.
Oh, my.
So what if I frame it to you? A team in the last, I think, again, it's 10 or 15 years, has never had a net rating of 35 plus and not made the Final Four.
Not made.
Change things a little?
Yeah, it kind of does. I mean, I love those ratings and different things like that. Now, are there teams lurking as 2s or 3s that could take one of them out? Or are they not going to see anybody even close to that rating until the Elite 8 game?
So there is no team that is going to be able to crack that threshold of 35. 30, we have Tennessee, we have Bama, Tech, Michigan State, Gonzaga, maybe. There are teams with 30 net ratings, but that's kind of the one thing I did not like, and I do think that just because Auburn and Bama are in the SEC does not mean, okay, hey, we can't put the 1 and the 2 from the same conference. That is silly, and it ended up being a huge reward for Auburn and Florida that should have gone to Duke and Houston. We'll be right back here with Dave.
Which is a great place to be. Are you in the locker room, like you're giving like the Any Given Sunday inches Al Pacino speech? Are we there yet?
Oh, yeah, I think we've been there. We're going to have a long talk with Rob today about the 99-199 issue from last week. Like, I just don't get how he is still employed. We got to talk to ownership about that one.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
They're also showing a little bit more propensity to take the pull-up jumper, which I think is important for them. Aiden Holloway's been better. Brant Nelson's staying out of foul trouble. Clifford Murray is attacking the offensive boards and being the defensive threat that they need. If Alabama can defend, and they make a run, and they win the SEC tournament, I think they're the 4th number 1 seed.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
That is also value to be the best player on the best team. To me, it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. There is no doubt about it.
The Nuggets probably going to finish, 2nd overall in the conference here, and it's not going to get him the MVP. We'll see how it is down the stretch, and I assume this is going to tighten up, but barring a huge drop-off for OKC as a team, not just SGA, you could probably pencil him in for 30 a night.
The early line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 18.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
I just gave Dave a little reminder how much he should miss doing in-play sports tonight with myself and Donnie. And I'm not saying he's alone in that, but, man, DeMar Kelly knocks a triple down, and you just – all those juices get flowing. All right, Dave, so I'm going to throw it to you because I know you got in-game live coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I am on San Diego State at +5.5. Donnie broke this down a little bit for people today on Moneyline. Mm-hmm. I'm curious if you saw similar stuff where Donnie was saying essentially East Coast time, 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., using FanDuel at least,
Mm-hmm.
4.5, 5.5, 4.5, 5. They were playing ping pong with this number.
Correct.
Now they were playing, and he was like, "Man, I haven't really seen this. I'm curious what you have made of maybe some of the movement and action around that game tonight." I'm on the Aztecs at 5.5. I certainly think you can bet it at 4.5, but you always want to get the best of the number. I was able to do that late last night. I'm curious what you think of the basketball game before we let you get out of here.
It was bouncing back and forth, and I think you got the best number. You will have the best number pre-game. Now, obviously, with in-game, the
first
variance
possession,
is
3.
crazy. Yeah, it'll change. The game's going to close at either 4.5 or 5. It's not going down to 4. There's no more San Diego State happening between now and game time in about an hour and 15 minutes. Whenever we get to it here. Just for the record, K-Dub, I do miss doing Moneyline or whatever we called that show with you and Donnie every single day, and I still get asked about it once a week if we could ever put the 3-man weave back together. I'm not going to watch much of the St. Francis and Alabama State game. I have it on right now. That game, St. Francis looks to be the right side right now. They're up 6. I think North Carolina wins tonight. I think the game goes over. I'm actually looking for every reason in these first round games, in these first games, whatever this tonight's called, first 4, at least Thursday, Friday, being a book guy and a life spent in this business, I'm looking to look for unders. But tonight, I think the game goes over. I think the game has juice. I'm going to throw it back to you with this question. Did the Steelers get a quarterback yet today? I mean, every day I talk to you, I'm going to ask you this question. I saw you talking to Blewett.
Yeah.
Do they have a quarterback yet?
They might let this kid DeMar Kelly start for him. Let me tell you, he looks out here and go, "Oh, this kid's hot off the bench right now." Up to 7. We need 4 more. Look, they don't have a quarterback yet. I think this team's going to come out, let DK Metcalf play a little QB. I like their style. We're just going to try and be positive, man. That's all we can do. That's all we can do in this day and age because it's not going great. Seth Trimble for the prop players, by the way, consig for 10+. We'll try and get in the mix there a little bit in the prop market. I know not everyone can. Man, look at DeMar Kelly. But trying to get us off the right, trying to get us on the right path here, man. Trying to get us on the pass it to. Whoa! Hold on now, make a man miss. Man, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun, and Dave, I know, of course, you'll kind of be with us throughout the whole process, man. I know you love this time of year, and enjoy it because you know what's next. We're not far away. So, Dave, who do you think's going second overall? They were hitting Dave up for draft questions on vacation.
How many quarterbacks taken in the first round? I'm waiting for you to start asking me about how many offensive tackles are taken in the first round and all these other crazy prop bets. Look,
we got answers for you. You think we don't have answers for you? Be careful.
600.
Be careful. Don't play. If you keep playing along, you're going to keep.
The Steelers aren't drafting a quarterback this year. They got to sign one first. They're not drafting a quarterback. Plus 450. That price is wrong. Okay.
All right. There is no, but but just if you found it, there you go. Look at it, Dave. We got this now. I like this. This is whatever. This now is just help Dave understand what's going on with the Steelers all season. New segment. New segment. Look at this.
Tomlin glasses right here.
Wow.
How about this, Mike?
Wow,
this guy's about
to call a 2nd and 9 halfback dive. Look at him over there. Not bad. Not bad. All right.
I gotta go.
All right. Consig, look, man, always good to see you. People out there, do me a favor. Unless you're on the other side, root in a miracle comeback Celtics, I think -4.5 in the first quarter. Guys in the back could need it. And when you're done with that, you're rooting San Diego State catching the 5 and a hook or 4.5. Absolutely not. And little Seth Trimble 10+. See you Thursday.